Emily was radiant. Since she was little, she had dreamed of her wedding. And now that magical moment had finally arrived. Every detail was carefully planned to create a perfect day. The mansion chosen for the ceremony was located in the charming suburbs of Boston, surrounded by lush gardens and ancient oaks that seemed to hold secrets from times past. That place would be the setting where her dreams would come true. Michael, her fiancé, was her rock, her best friend. Together, they had envisioned an intimate wedding, a celebration of the love they felt for each other, surrounded only by their closest ones. They wanted something elegant, but not excessive, an event that reflected the essence of their relationship. But there was one detail that worried Emily. They decided it would be a child-free wedding, except for their siblings. They wanted the guests to enjoy the ceremony and reception without worries. To make the situation easier, Emily kindly offered caregivers for her nephews and nieces, believing this would be a solution that pleased everyone. Emily couldn't foresee the impact of this decision. She felt a slight pang in her heart thinking about how her sister Sarah would react. Sarah had always been strong-willed, and her relationship with Emily was full of ups and downs. Emily hoped that this time her sister would understand her choice and accept the offer of the caregivers. The days leading up to the wedding were a mix of excitement and anxiety. Emily spent hours tending to every detail, from the flowers that would adorn the mansion to the carefully crafted menu. Yet the shadow of uncertainty loomed over her. What if Sarah didn't accept the decision? What if it ruined everything? Emily tried to push these thoughts away. She wanted this day to be perfect, not just for her and Michael, but for everyone present. Walking through the mansion's halls during the planning visits, she allowed herself to dream of the moment she would say, "I do," to the love of her life, surrounded by the beauty and serenity of that special place. But even amid this happiness, a twinge of worry persisted. Emily knew that not all dreams come true without obstacles. She just hoped that the joy of this day would outweigh any difficulties that might arise. Little did she know that the real trials were yet to come, and her resilience would be tested in ways she had never imagined. The observer, watching Emily, feels her excitement and apprehension. Every detail, every emotion, reflects the love and fear she feels as she approaches the most important day of her life. Emily's hopes and insecurities become palpable, and the intensity of her feelings sets the stage for the journey about to begin. When Emily called Sarah to discuss the details about the caregivers, she expected some resistance, but nothing could have prepared her for the fierce reaction she received. On the other end of the line, Sarah started with a cold tone that quickly turned to outrage. "Do you really expect me to leave my kids with strangers while you get married? This is ridiculous, Emily." Sarah's voice was filled with a rage that Emily couldn't fully understand. Emily tried to stay calm. "Sarah, I just want everyone to enjoy the ceremony without worries. The caregivers are professionals, and I'm paying for everything to make it easier for everyone." But Sarah didn't want to listen. "Easier? This doesn't make anything easier for me. You're being selfish, only thinking about yourself and your perfect wedding." Those words cut Emily like a knife. She had always tried to keep the peace, especially with Sarah, but it seemed that no matter how hard she tried, it was never enough. The tension between them escalated, and Emily could feel tears forming, a mix of frustration and sadness. "I just wanted you to be there for me, to support us on this special day," Emily murmured, trying to keep her voice steady. "Please, Sarah, I really thought this was the best solution." But Sarah was unyielding. "If my kids aren't welcome, then neither am I. Good luck with your soulless wedding, Emily." The line went silent, and Emily stared at the phone, unable to believe what had just happened. She felt betrayed and devastated. Sarah's words echoed in her mind, and a sense of emptiness took hold of her. She sat on the couch, hugging her knees, as the tears finally flowed freely down her face. The following hours were a whirlwind. Emily called Michael, recounting the argument with Sarah. He tried to console her, saying everything would be okay, but Emily felt a deep pain, as if something had broken irreparably. The next days brought more bad news. Messages started coming in from other family members, saying that in solidarity with Sarah, they wouldn't attend the wedding. Emily was losing control of the situation. Her anxiety turned into constant dread, and each new phone call felt like another stab to her heart. The vision of her dream wedding was falling apart, and with it, the trust she had in her family. Emily wondered how things could have gone so wrong, and the feeling of helplessness was overwhelming. She spent sleepless nights trying to find a solution, but each day it became clearer that the situation was slipping out of her hands. Emily felt alone, abandoned by those who should have been by her side. The mansion, which once symbolized the realization of a dream, now seemed like a distant memory of something that might never happen. To the observer, Emily's pain is palpable. With each tear, each sigh of despair, the emotion intensifies, and the suspense about the future of the wedding grows. Emily's internal struggle, between her love for Michael and the devastation caused by her family, creates a scene of deep uncertainty and sorrow. And the lingering question is, how far will this family crisis take her? The days following that fateful call with Sarah were a real nightmare for Emily. Each message, each phone call, seemed to add more weight to her shoulders. Her parents, her uncles, even some cousins, all seemed to take sides, and it wasn't hers. She felt like she was in an emotional minefield, where each step could trigger a new explosion of conflicts. The phone calls became frequent and unbearable. First, it was her Aunt Lisa, with a grave tone that only intensified the seriousness of the situation. "Emily, we understand it's your special day, but excluding the family's children isn't fair. Sarah is right to be upset," Lisa said, and Emily could feel the coldness in her words. Trying to hold back tears, Emily replied, "Aunt Lisa, I offered a solution for everyone. I just wanted everyone to have fun without worries. I didn't mean to cause problems." But Lisa was unmoved. "Maybe you should reconsider your priorities." After that, the messages started pouring in. Her cousin David wrote a long text about the importance of family and how he couldn't attend an event that disrespected Sarah. Her grandmother, in a trembling and sad voice, said she was sorry but couldn't go against Sarah's decision. Emily read and listened to all this with a heavy heart, as if she were sinking into an abyss of despair. Michael did his best to comfort her, but even he seemed on the verge of collapse, trying to balance his love for Emily and the frustration of seeing her so devastated. The feeling of betrayal was suffocating. These were the people she loved, who she always imagined would be by her side on one of the most important days of her life. And now, it seemed they were turning against her, supporting Sarah without even considering her feelings. One particularly difficult night, Emily collapsed on the living room floor, sobbing uncontrollably. She felt small, helpless, crushed by the weight of rejection. "Why is this happening, Michael? I just wanted a perfect day for us," she cried, her voice weak and broken. Michael held her tightly, his own tears falling. "We'll get through this, Emily, I promise, we'll find a way." But pessimism was beginning to set in. Emily started to doubt everything, her choices, her worth. With each new message, each new note from a family member saying they wouldn't come, her heart broke a little more. And then, the final blow came with a message from her mother. "Emily, I think it's better if we reconsider the wedding. Maybe it's best to postpone until things calm down." Postpone. That word echoed in Emily's mind like a funeral bell. Everything she had planned, dreamed of, was crumbling before her eyes. And what was left was a desperate void, a feeling that everything was out of control. The tension reached its peak. The uncertainty about what would come next kept Emily and Michael on an emotional roller coaster, not knowing if the next day would bring a solution or more pain. The observer, witnessing this cascade of emotions, feels Emily's agony, the intensity of her suffering, and is left on the edge of their seat, anxious to discover what fate has in store for her. Emily felt like she was being crushed by an unbearable weight. Her mother's message was the final straw. After days of struggling and sleepless nights, she finally gave in. Sitting at the kitchen table, her eyes swollen from crying, she called Michael. "Michael, I can't go on like this. I'm falling apart," she said, her voice almost a whisper. "I think we need to cancel the big wedding." Michael took a deep breath on the other end of the line. "Emily, I'm with you in any decision. If this is what we need to do, then let's do it." Although relieved that Michael was by her side, the pain of canceling her dream wedding was almost unbearable. Emily sent messages, one by one, to all the guests, informing them of the change in plans. Each send felt like a stab to the heart. She knew this meant not just the end of a dream, but also a definitive rift with parts of her family. The following days were filled with a strange mix of relief and sadness. The relief came from the absence of daily conflicts, but the sadness was deep and constant. Emily could hardly believe it had come to this. The mansion, which was supposed to be the setting for a magical day, now symbolized a shattered dream. She and Michael decided they would have a smaller ceremony, only with their closest friends and Michael's family. It would be a celebration of their love, without the complications that had haunted the last few days. But the pain of losing her own family's support was a constant shadow. Emily began to cut contact with those who had unconditionally supported Sarah. Each unanswered call, each ignored message, was a painful but necessary step. She knew she needed to protect her heart, but that didn't make the process any less agonizing. One rainy afternoon, while organizing the final details of the new ceremony, Emily felt a crushing wave of sadness. She sat on the living room floor, staring into space, feeling completely alone despite Michael being just a few feet away. "Why did this happen, Michael? Why did my own family turn against me?" she asked, her voice choked. Michael knelt beside her, holding her hands. "I don't know, Emily, but I know we'll get through this. Together. We'll create new memories with people who truly care about us." Michael's words were a comfort, but the pain was still there, lingering. Emily knew the smaller wedding would be beautiful, but she also knew that the absence of her family would leave an indelible mark on her soul. She wondered if she could ever forgive them or herself for everything that had happened. The observer, watching Emily's internal struggle, feels the depth of her sadness and the conflict in her heart. The tension of not knowing how it will all resolve hangs in the air, keeping everyone on edge. Emily's journey is an emotional roller coaster, full of uncertainties, pain, and a quiet resilience that only heightens the desire to see where this story will end. The days leading up to the new ceremony were a mix of serenity and reflection for Emily and Michael. With the big wedding canceled, they found themselves with more time to think, reflect, and most importantly, reevaluate their priorities. Although the environment was less chaotic, the pain of recent betrayals still echoed in their hearts. Emily, in particular, felt as if she was on a journey of self-discovery, even if that journey had been forced by painful circumstances. Walking through the gardens of the house she and Michael shared, she thought about how their wedding was supposed to be a celebration of love and union, but had turned into a source of conflict and pain. One afternoon, while sitting on the garden bench, Emily found herself lost in thought. The sound of the wind blowing through the leaves was almost therapeutic. Michael, noticing the melancholy in her eyes, sat beside her, gently holding her hand. "What are you thinking about?" he asked, his voice soft and full of concern. Emily sighed, squeezing his hand. "I'm thinking about how we got here, all the things we've lost and what really matters to us." Michael looked at her, his eyes full of understanding. "I know it's been hard, Emily, but maybe all of this has a purpose. Maybe it's an opportunity for us to start over with a renewed focus on what's truly important." Emily nodded, feeling a spark of hope. "You're right. We need to focus on what really matters, our love, our happiness. Let's make this new ceremony something special, something that truly reflects who we are." With this new determination, Emily and Michael began planning their intimate wedding with a new purpose. Every detail was thought out with care, reflecting the essence of their relationship. The flowers, the decorations, even the music chosen. Everything seemed to have a new, deeper, and more sincere meaning. As they made the preparations, Emily started to realize that although the pain of loss was real, something beautiful was emerging from the ashes. Through tears and suffering, she and Michael were creating something truly authentic. The smaller ceremony, with just their closest friends and Michael's family, began to feel more than enough. It felt perfect. Emily also found comfort in small acts of kindness. Friends who showed up unexpectedly to offer help, words of encouragement from co-workers, and even the kindness of strangers started to restore her faith in humanity. Each act of kindness was like a ray of sunshine amidst the dark clouds that had dominated her emotional sky. But despite the new hope, the shadow of pain still lingered. There were moments when Emily felt fragile, as if she was on the brink of breaking down. The absence of her own family at the wedding was an open wound, something she couldn't simply ignore. However, with each passing day, Emily grew a little stronger. She knew the journey would still be difficult, but she also knew that with Michael by her side, she could face anything. The decision to reevaluate their lives and focus on what truly mattered was starting to bear fruit, and Emily felt a renewed sense of peace growing within her. The observer, following each step of this emotional journey, feels Emily's evolution, the transformation from despair to determination, the rediscovery of what truly matters, and the quiet strength that emerges from the depths of suffering. Emily's story continues to unfold, keeping everyone eager to see how she and Michael will overcome the challenges that still lie ahead. Finally, the day of the new ceremony arrived. The air was fresh, and a gentle breeze caressed the flowers in the garden where Emily and Michael had decided to exchange their vows. It was a different setting than Emily had initially imagined, but in many ways, it felt even more special. Emily woke up with a mix of nervousness and excitement. Looking at herself in the mirror, she saw a woman who had been through a lot, but had emerged stronger and more determined. She put on her dress with special care, each detail representing not just the love she felt for Michael, but also her own resilience. As she stepped out of the room, she found Michael waiting for her in the garden, surrounded by their closest friends and his family. He looked at her with an expression of pure love and pride, and for a moment, all the past pain seemed to disappear. The friends who were present formed a circle around them, creating an atmosphere of intimacy and support. Emily felt a wave of emotion seeing the smiling faces and tears of joy from those who truly cared about them. Every hug, every word of encouragement, was a balm for her wounded soul. As she walked down the makeshift aisle towards Michael, her mother's and Sarah's words still echoed in her mind. But instead of letting them poison the moment, she used them as fuel to appreciate even more what she had in front of her. The absence of her family was painful, but the presence of love around her was palpable. The officiant began the ceremony with words that resonated deeply with Emily. He spoke about love, strength, and the courage needed to overcome challenges. And when it came time to exchange vows, Emily felt her heart race. With tears in her eyes, she looked at Michael and began, "Michael, from the moment we met, you have been my anchor, my light in the darkness. We have faced so many trials, and yet, here we are, stronger and more united than ever. I promise to love you with all my soul, to face any challenge by your side, and to build a life full of joy and meaning. You are my everything." Michael, with tears streaming down his face, responded with a voice full of emotion, "Emily, you are my reason for living, my companion and my best friend. Nothing can shake the love I have for you. Together, we can face anything. I promise to be your safe harbor, your support, and your unconditional love today and always." The vows were followed by an exchange of rings, each symbolizing the promise of eternal love. When the officiant declared them husband and wife, the small gathering erupted in applause and tears of joy. But the day wasn't without surprises. As everyone celebrated, Emily spotted someone she didn't expect to see: her Aunt Lisa, standing at the back of the garden. Emily's heart leapt, torn between joy and uncertainty. Lisa approached, a shy smile on her face. "Emily, I know things got difficult, but I couldn't not be here for you. I realize that despite our differences, love and support are what really matter." Tears streamed down Emily's face as she embraced her aunt. "Thank you, Aunt Lisa. Your presence here means more than you can imagine." Lisa's presence was a powerful reminder that even in the most difficult situations, there is hope for reconciliation and understanding. And as the day progressed with laughter, dancing, and love, Emily felt an inner peace she hadn't experienced in a long time. For the observer, Emily and Michael's ceremony is a testament to the power of love and resilience. The intense emotion, the moments of joy, and the final surprise of reconciliation with her aunt create a rich and engaging narrative, leaving everyone with the feeling that despite the difficulties, true love always triumphs. Emily's journey is not over, but this moment marked a new beginning, full of promises and possibilities. With the ceremony over and the reception in full swing, Emily finally began to feel a genuine sense of relief. Her Aunt Lisa's presence had brought a glimmer of reconciliation she hadn't expected. However, the day still held more surprises. As the guests toasted and danced, Emily stepped away for a moment of quiet reflection. Walking through the garden, she found a bench under a large tree and sat down, allowing herself to feel the calm and joy of the moment. Suddenly, she heard soft footsteps behind her. Turning around, she saw Sarah standing there looking hesitant and holding a bouquet of flowers. Emily felt a wave of conflicting emotions. Her first impulse was anger and pain, but something in Sarah's vulnerable expression made her pause. "Emily," Sarah began, her voice trembling, I couldn't let this day pass without talking to you. I know things got really difficult between us. I just wanted to say I'm sorry." Sarah's words hit Emily like a punch. She took a deep breath, trying to hold back tears. "Sarah, you have no idea how much this hurt me. Our relationship, the support of our family. I felt so alone." Sarah stepped forward, offering the flowers. "I know, and I'm so sorry for that. I was so focused on my own frustrations that I didn't realize how much I was hurting you. I just want to try to fix things. Please." Emily looked at the flowers and then into Sarah's eyes, seeing a reflection of her own pain and regret. Slowly, she stood up and accepted the bouquet. "Sarah, I want to believe we can get past this, but it's going to take time. I need time to heal." Sarah nodded, tears streaming down her face. "I understand. I just wanted you to know that I'm willing to do anything to fix our relationship. You're my sister, and I love you." With those words, Emily felt a crack in the ice around her heart. She hugged Sarah, letting the tears flow. For a few minutes they stood there, crying together, sharing the pain and hope of a new beginning. When they returned to the party, side by side, the guests noticed the change. Michael, seeing them, smiled with relief and joy. To him, this was the best wedding gift they could have received. The night continued with more dancing, laughter, and a palpable sense of renewal. Emily, although still feeling the pain of what had happened, now also felt a growing hope. The wounds weren't fully healed, but there was a path forward, and she was willing to take it. As the night ended and the last guests said their goodbyes, Emily and Michael had a moment alone under the starry sky. "We did it, Michael," she said, holding his hand. "We went through so much, but we made it." Michael pulled her into a hug, kissing her softly on the forehead. "Yes, we did. And now we can start building our future together, without letting the past haunt us." For the observer, this moment is a breath of hope and a testament to the human capacity to forgive and move forward. The reconciliation with Sarah, though just the beginning, symbolizes the possibility of healing and the strength of sisterly love. Emily and Michael's journey is far from over, but this chapter marks a turning point, leaving everyone eager for what comes next. In the days following the ceremony, Emily and Michael began adjusting to their new married life. The house that once seemed big and empty was now filled with love and laughter. Yet, despite the newfound joy, Emily still carried the scars from the emotional battles she had faced. One morning, while Emily and Michael were having breakfast on the porch, Emily's phone rang. It was her mother. Emily felt her heart race. She wasn't sure if she was ready for this conversation, but she knew it was inevitable. "Hello, Mom," Emily answered, trying to keep her voice steady. "Emily." Her mother's voice sounded tired and full of emotion. I just wanted to congratulate you on the wedding. I'm so sorry I wasn't there. I think I made a lot of mistakes." Emily took a deep breath, feeling a lump in her throat. "Mom, all I wanted was for everyone to be by my side, supporting me, but you chose a side and it hurt me deeply." "I know, dear," her mother said, her voice breaking. "I realized too late how wrong we were, and I want to try to fix it if you'll let me." Emily closed her eyes, feeling tears run down her cheeks. "I don't know if I can forget everything that happened, Mom, but I'm willing to try because I still love you." After hanging up, Emily felt exhausted but also hopeful. She knew this was just the first of many difficult conversations, but also an important step toward healing. Days later, as Emily and Michael were walking in the park, they found a bench under a tree and decided to sit. Michael noticed that Emily was distracted and gently asked, "What are you thinking about?" Emily sighed. "About what's to come. The possibility of rebuilding relationships, but also the fear of being hurt again." Michael held her hand tenderly. "I'll be by your side every step of the way, Emily, and whatever comes, we'll face it together." Emily smiled, feeling strengthened by Michael's words. His constant presence and unwavering support were the foundation of her new life. With him by her side, she felt she could face anything. A few weeks later, Emily decided it was time to take another step. She invited her mother and Sarah to lunch at her house. It was a meeting full of intense emotions, tears, and sincere words. Emily talked about her pain, her expectations, and what she needed to move forward. Her mother and Sarah listened attentively, acknowledging their mistakes and promising to change. That lunch was a milestone. It didn't erase the past but started to build a bridge to the future. Over time, the wounds began to heal, and Emily realized that reconciliation, though difficult, was possible. Michael was a pillar of support throughout this process. His unconditional love gave Emily the strength to face the ghosts of the past and embrace the future with hope. Each day brought a new challenge, but also a new opportunity to grow and heal. The observer, following this emotional journey, feels the depth of Emily's internal struggles and the strength of the love she shares with Michael. The story continues to unfold with suspense and emotion, leaving everyone eager to see how Emily will find peace and happiness amidst the adversities. Emily's resilience and Michael's unwavering support are a beacon of hope, showing that even in the darkest situations, love and understanding can light the way. As time passed, Emily felt stronger and more confident in her ability to face life's challenges. The reconciliation with her mother and Sarah was a significant step in the right direction, but there was still an emotional journey ahead. One day, while organizing some papers in her home office, Emily found an old letter hidden at the bottom of a drawer. The handwriting was familiar. It was a letter her grandmother had written to her mother years ago. Emily sat down and carefully opened it, curious to know what was written inside. As she read her grandmother's loving words, a wave of emotions washed over her. Her grandmother spoke about love, forgiveness, and the importance of family. Emily couldn't help but think about the generations of strong and resilient women in her family, each facing their own challenges and adversities. Her grandmother's letter served as a powerful reminder that love and forgiveness were fundamental pillars for happiness and inner peace. Tears rolled down Emily's face as she reflected on everything that had happened in the past few months. It was as if her grandmother's gentle voice was guiding her through the shadows of the past. That night, Emily shared the discovery of the letter with Michael as they sat together in the living room. He listened attentively, holding her hand with affection. "Emily, sometimes we need to look back to understand where we're going. Your grandmother seems to have been a wise person." Emily nodded, feeling a mix of gratitude and sadness. "Yes, she was. I just wish I could share this with my mother and Sarah. I think it could help us understand each other better." Michael gently stroked her face. "Who knows, maybe it's the right time to share it with them. It could be a way to continue building the bridge between you." This idea stayed with Emily in the following days. She decided to make copies of her grandmother's letter, one for her mother and one for Sarah. She included a brief personal note, expressing her sincere desire for healing and reconciliation. When the letters were sent, Emily felt a weight lifted off her shoulders. It was a bold step, but she knew it was necessary. She hoped that her words and the reminder of her grandmother's wisdom could pave the way for deeper understanding between them. While waiting for a response, Emily focused on her daily life with Michael. Each day was an opportunity to strengthen their bond, to create happy memories that would balance out the scars of the past. Gradually, she felt she was moving towards acceptance of what had happened, but also of the transformative power of forgiveness and love. For the observer, the discovery of the letter and the gesture of sharing it are moments of profound reflection and hope. Emily's story continues to evolve, not just in terms of family reconciliation, but also in her personal journey of growth and healing. Her grandmother's letter represents a connection to family roots and a guiding light in times of emotional darkness. What the future holds for Emily and her family, only time will tell, but the path to acceptance seems to be slowly unfolding. While Emily eagerly awaited news from her mother and Sarah, she threw herself into her work and preparations for a local charity event. It was a welcome distraction, but her mind was still constantly on the uncertain future of her family relationships. One sunny morning, Emily received an unexpected phone call. It was Sarah. Emily's heart began to race as she answered. "Sarah, I'm glad you called." On the other end, Sarah sounded nervous but determined. "Emily, I read Grandma's letter. I was very moved and regretful. I want to try again if you're willing." Emily felt a wave of relief mixed with caution. "Sarah, I want to try too, but it's going to take time. We need to talk more, understand each other, Sarah agreed, her words a mix of emotion. I know. I just want you to know that I'm here, willing to work on this. For you. They arranged to meet at a cafe the following week. Emily told Michael about the call, and he smiled, holding her hand tenderly. See this as a new beginning, Emily. I'm proud of you for taking this step. On the day of the meeting, Emily and Sarah sat at a table, nervous but determined. There was a tense silence at first, but gradually they began to talk about their lives, their past pains, and their dreams for the future. Sarah shared her own struggles and frustrations, while Emily opened up about feeling abandoned and hurt. As the conversation progressed, Emily felt the emotional barriers beginning to crumble. Sarah was also striving to find common ground, longing for genuine reconciliation. By the time they finished talking, both had tears in their eyes. Emily, I'm so sorry, Sarah murmured, holding her sister's hand. I shouldn't have been so harsh. I didn't realize how much I was hurting you.
Emily took a deep breath, feeling a weight lift off her shoulders. Sarah, we both made mistakes, but the important thing is that we're here now, trying to fix things.
They agreed to keep working on their relationship, step by step. It wouldn't be easy, but Emily felt a renewed determination in her heart. She knew there would be ups and downs, but she was willing to invest in the bond with her sister. When she returned home that night, Emily found Michael preparing dinner, a warm smile on his face. He hugged her tenderly, knowing she had taken a significant step toward healing. How did it go? He asked softly. Emily smiled, feeling light. It went well, Michael. It was a good start. As they dined together, they talked about the future and the possibilities that had opened up with the renewed understanding between Emily and Sarah. Emily knew there was still much work to be done, but she felt grateful to have Michael by her side, supporting her every step of the way. For the observer, this moment of reconciliation between Emily and Sarah is emotional and full of hope. It represents not only the healing power of family relationships, but also the courage to face emotional challenges and find mutual forgiveness. Emily's story continues to inspire, showing that even in the face of great obstacles, love and understanding can prevail.